And again, the good thing about timeline therapy is it does not require content like other things. It doesn't require a client to get into traumatic memories, which is a great thing, and other therapies don't always release negative emotions, or all of the negative emotions. I'm going to show you in a moment how timeline therapy is kind of like flicking a domino. Instead of working in one or two or three instances of, let's say, anger in your life or abandonment in your life, it's like a domino effect or a bulldozer for all of them, which is really, really neat. So this is, we talked about gestalts, and Gestalt, for example, is Gestalt therapy, because you work on specific things. And Gestalt therapy is good, although it doesn't do what timeline therapy does. So these are Gestalt lines, and you can draw it either way. I've drawn just literally a line down here, and I've drawn a spiral here. We can represent it in different ways. First I'll do this a straight line. So say this is birth here, the little green dot's birth. And say up here is birth in the middle. And don't worry about this is just dividing the two of them. So let's say that, I'll give you a minute to write down, look up here for a second. So let's say something happens, let's say, there's a three-year-old girl, and she's being a ballerina at her grandmother's place. She's dancing around, being a ballerina at her grandmother's place. And let's say she knocks off grandma's priceless Ming vase, or whatever priceless vase she has. And maybe her mother and grandma's all upset, grandma's crying, and her mother or father says, "You're so clumsy." And again, especially with that big emotion, what happens is that anchors a particular thing. Maybe it's, this is a limiting belief. Instead of anger, this is a limiting belief. So like, oh goodness, let's say age 3 or 2. You're so clumsy. She gets this big negative belief installed. And we talked about how the critical ages from 0 to 7, stuff goes in like glue. So again, mom or dad, especially if it's with big, powerful emotions. That's why at all these motivation seminars, especially Tony Robbins, people are jumping up. Powerful emotions will reinforce whatever whatever subject is. So whether it's something bad or sad or something good and powerful, it'll reinforce it. Stuff with big emotion goes in and sticks, especially 0 to 7. So let's say she's 3. "Oh, you're so clumsy." And that'll go in and that'll stick. And this creates a limiting belief of, "Oh, I'm clumsy." Let's say then she tries out for track and field, and she always trips and falls. Kind of whether she's told she's clumsy or not, it reinforces, "Oh, I really am clumsy. I can't keep my feet out in front of each other at track and field." Let's say then, heck, there's something, let's say at age 5.
You just go to your place.
Interesting.
You know, should I say?
You know what? She shared a moment. I'll show you, and then yes, absolutely, because this creates some ahas for people. Then let's say maybe age 5. Let's say she goes to ride a bike, and she falls off. She thinks, she falls off again and again, like most people do. But she has this, "You're so clumsy," or "I'm clumsy" limiting belief. So it actually would re-anchor that. So it creates another anchor of, "I'm clumsy." And maybe she gives up the bike. Maybe she just doesn't even bother. I had a client tell me she doesn't ride a bike. She's like, "I'm just too clumsy. And I've been clumsy since I was a kid." I'm like, interesting. Let's say, let's fast forward to age, 12, 13, 14. And she goes maybe to kiss a boy, but she misses, and the first kiss, for example, she misses, and and they fall over, or she falls on him or something. And another anchor of, "I'm so clumsy." And then maybe it happens in track and field. Maybe she doesn't try it for track and field. Or maybe she's dancing with a boy in, grade 9 or 10, and then, she misses 2 left feet. And again, it anchors again, "I'm so clumsy." Maybe her date would even joke, "You're so clumsy," and he thinks he's joking, or she thinks she's joking, or friends think they're joking. What it's really doing is reinforcing this limiting belief that started way back here. And this happens all her life. Maybe she, maybe she's out dancing again at a club when she's 20. Or she tries to do something, do construction. Maybe she wants to build something at her house, be constructive, and hits her hand with a hammer. "Oh, wow, I'm so clumsy." And this is how things just they start usually very young, and they get reinforced. They're often out of our awareness, yet I'm so clumsy. So let's see an opportunity to go clubbing with friends, or dancing with friends comes up, or she has a date, and let's go dancing. She's like, "Oh no, I'm too clumsy." Or maybe it's an opportunity to do something like rock climbing with someone. oh, I can't do that, I'm too clumsy. And this is where these limiting beliefs come from. And any negative emotion happens the same way. Anger happens the same way. And each event anchors this limiting belief and strengthens this limiting belief. So I've shown it as a spiral here. It can literally be just shown as this is a timeline in someone's life. So this is birth, and let's say this is death over here. It just, usually our big things happen before 7. The root cause of the first event usually is before 7. And you just keep anchoring either these negative emotions, or we keep anchoring these limiting beliefs. I'm clumsy, or I'm not good enough. Say the spiral was I'm not good enough. You know, someone rejected you when you were a kid, and it's continued, it's been reinforced all these years, and you often reinforce it in yourself. And often you hear people saying, they'll use that language, oh, I'm not good enough for that, or I could never do that. And life keeps reinforcing this huge belief in them, and until it becomes as real as the wall. As real as the wall. We'll look at them and we'll say, oh, that's silly. Of course you can go to university if no one in your family has. Of course you can lose weight. Of course you can find a wonderful person. Of course you can become an entrepreneur. But to them, this limiting belief, it's been 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. This client I worked with is in his 80s. It's been 80 years being reinforced. That's why it's as hard as the wall. And it's as real as the wall to them. We look at them and say, well, of course you're not too old. Of course it's not too late. Of course you can lose weight. Of course, whatever, you can find a wonderful person. Yet to them, this belief is as hard as the wall. We all have them. Other people see them in us, and they're like, that's not true. Yet to us, it's as real as the wall. And we can't get past that until we knock it out. Timeline therapy lets us do that with volition, and when we see it, you can knock it out very quickly. It's pretty powerful. So again, the same spiral, just outline I was showing you again, a grouping of same ideas, whether it's anger, emotion, fear, emotion, or it's a limiting belief, I'm not good enough, I'm powerless, I'm worthless, unworthy, unlovable. It just gets anchored and anchored and anchored. Like let's say you're rejected for a date, or young as a kid, or a parent didn't love you, or a parent left you, or there was a divorce. And let's say in high school, let's say in middle school, your teachers gave you kind of guff or weren't nice to you. Again, oh, I'm unlovable, that's why my teachers aren't nice. And maybe the girls didn't talk to you when around age, let's say 13, 14, 15, when people started noticing the opposite sex. And no one wants to dance with you at dance. And then you get rejected in dates. And then maybe a divorce happens, or a big split up of a relationship happens. Maybe you failed at something, a certain job or degree or school, you get laid off. And all these, either I'm not good enough or unlovable, it gets, these massive negative beliefs get reinforced. And this is how it happens. This is why it's so real and so powerful to limit us, hence the name limiting belief. It's because it's been reinforced our entire life, even though it started way back when we were young. And it's usually totally out of our awareness. Totally out of awareness. So the good news is that timeline therapy can help. And very quickly and very powerfully as well. And instead of working on one event, a lot of therapy works on one event. Conscious therapy works on, let's talk about that event that bugged you, or that event, or how about that event that bugged you, or maybe this one or this one. A lot of therapies only work on that. The good news is that timeline therapy works on these like dominoes. As long as we go back to the first one, we'll show you how to do that. It just knocks them out like dominoes. Or here, just knocks them all out like dominoes versus working on one and then another and another. It knocks everything out on that just all, whether it's to do with a negative emotion or limiting belief, which is why it's so fast and so powerful. It is awesome. Instead of, well, let's talk about that, and the next week come back, we'll talk about that. Next week we'll talk, and the next year we'll do this, and next year we'll do that. Literally, that's why breakthroughs can happen so fast and so powerfully with things like NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, because it all works unconsciously, which is where all the power of the brain and mind is anyway. It's where all change, learning, and behavior occurs. You're actually working on the epicenter, essentially, of what is causing or preventing someone from having what they want. So this is very powerful. Very powerful on how timeline therapy works. And if we need to make sure we go back to the very first event, because we can knock the rest of the dominoes down. But there's still maybe a few things bugging them. Or that big first event, we might not go back to if we're not very sure we've gone back to the first event. And again, we'll show you how. You just have to make sure. And especially if they say, oh, it was when I was 15 or when I was 20 or 30 or 50, it's not the first event. The first event is always before 7. Again, that was our like glue age. That was our imprint age, like glue. So if they say, 10 or 15 or 20 or 25, and they swear it, you say that might have been the biggest event, or the most remembered, or the most, where things where stuff hit the fan, but that is not the first age. You just have to find the very first event. If they give you a number before 7, then that's accurate. If it's after 7, it'll be another event. It may even be the biggest event, but it won't be the first event. That's the only thing we have to remember, is make sure we go back to the very first event, and then it knocks it all out like dominoes. It's pretty powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff, in fact. It's changed my life. Changed a lot of lives as well. And it will change a lot of the lives of your clients and students and people who come to see you. That's about it. That's how time-limited therapy can work and how it's so powerful. Now we'll go into how do we do it?